Hey, what's up, everybody? True Boxing here. Thank you for coming back to get hit with the truth. So today we're doing a what's next on Joseph Parker, the former heavyweight champion of the world and current top hot heavyweight, as he returned on March 8th on the Joshua Ngannou undercard and took on Zhilei Zhang and scored an impressive 12-round majority decision in a fight where he was knocked down a couple times. Before we get into that, if you could smash the like button, leave a comment, or subscribe to the channel, I really do appreciate any and all support that I can get as I continue to build my channel here. So this fight with Zhang was another important one. He was coming off that big win over Deontay Wilder, and he would take on Zhilei Zhang, and another fight that people thought he was going to get knocked out. A lot of people were predicting that. I predicted that. And Zhang did better than Wilder, where he caught him a couple times, but Parker got up, composed himself, and was still able to outwork Zhang to a 12-round majority decision victory, as he is red hot right now and rolling. So the big question is, what's next for Parker? Well, it was Parker said after the fight that there's a rematch clause in the contract with Zhang and that he'd have to fight him again. Parker's the current WBO Interim Champion now, so that means he's next in line for a title shot, but we don't know when that title is going to be available to contest for, with the current situation going on between Fury and Usyk. And we know that Anthony Joshua is projected to be fighting the winner of that fight. So again, right now it's kind of up in the air, and it's up in the air if the WBO is going to take action. So let's run through the top 10 and see what possibly could be next for the former heavyweight champ and current interim champion, Joseph Parker. We start with Alexander Usyk, the current WBO and unified heavyweight champion of the world. Well, again, here's where it gets complicated. Usyk is fighting Tyson Fury on May 17th. If Usyk defeats Tyson Fury, there's an automatic rematch clause in the contract. Will Fury follow through with that, or will he accept a payday to not take the rematch, possibly face off against Joshua, and allow Usyk, the new undisputed champ, to fight Joseph Parker instead? I do think that is a possibility, and here's why. I really don't believe right now that Joshua or even the boxing scene wants to see a third fight with Joshua and Usyk after Usyk convincingly won the first two fights. So if Usyk were to upset Fury and become the undisputed champ, he's going to give up one of the belts or so. I'm not sure Usyk, and Joshua happen, even though they're saying they wanted the winners of Joshua and Ngannou to fight the winner of Fury and Usyk. Personally, I think Fury's going to beat Usyk. That could give Usyk the opportunity to fight Parker for the interim belt to get back in line to get his rematch following a potential Fury and Joshua showdown. So there's a lot of moving pieces here. I personally don't think Parker and Usyk is going to happen next, but given that we don't know, and all the money Saudi Arabia is putting into the heavyweight boxing scene right now, it could happen. If Usyk wins, I think it's actually more probable to happen if Usyk beats Fury, as opposed to if he were to lose to Fury, just because, again, I don't think people really want to see Joshua and Usyk 3, but I could be wrong. So we'll see what happens with that, but as of right now, as I stand, I'm going to say not likely Usyk and Usyk and Parker. Then there's Tyson Fury, which is Parker's good friend. I don't see it unless Fury loses, and again, we actually see Usyk and Joshua 3. then I think it becomes possible because Parker's red hot, and Fury, if he were to lose to Usyk, I don't think it's going to be by a blowout by any means. So I think Fury would want to get right back into it and move in line, and Parker's the hottest heavyweight right now outside of those big three right now. So I don't see Fury and Parker happening, but it could happen. You know, it definitely could happen in that scenario. If Fury were to lose to Usyk, I could see Fury and Parker putting their friendship to the side and facing off against each other. Then there's Anthony Joshua in what would be a rematch for Parker. This one's interesting because I do think it's possible, and the reason why is because they're both red hot and have both had about the same amount of activity recently, and Usyk and Fury too could happen based on whatever goes down on May 17th. If that's a close fight, given the fact that there's an automatic rematch clause in the contract, I could absolutely see Fury Usyk 2 happening later in the year, and Parker going after, and Parker and Joshua competing against each other, you know, to see who the next guy is to challenge the winner of Fury and Usyk 2. So I do think it's a possibility for Parker to fight Anthony Joshua in a rematch. Joshua is uber confident right now. These two guys last fought, it was about 6 years. It was about 6 years ago when they fought, and you know, it was kind of a lackluster decision win for Joshua when he handed Parker his first loss, and I think Parker would want some redemption. And I think Joshua would want a better performance, especially, again, against the red-hot Parker. So we'll see. Then there's Filip Hrgović, the undefeated top heavyweight contender. I thought this fight was more possible when, you know, would have been more possible. But now that Parker's the interim champion, Hrgović is projected to be facing Daniel Dubois. He's going to be a part of that 5 versus 5 series, and that could end up being for the vacant IBF title. So, and Dubois is highly ranked in the IBF, where Parker no longer is because he's the WBO interim champion. So, it kind of threw a monkey wrench into that potential fight right there. But again, I don't think Parker really cares because he's going to get nothing but big names. But, you know, Hrgović, I just think that fight's off the table, especially with Hrgović likely fighting Dubois next, with the IBF championship potentially being on the line. Then there's a rematch with Zhilei Zhang, which we thought was going to happen, but now it doesn't look like it because Zhang looks like he's going to be fighting Tyson Fury on the Bivol Better Be of Supercard that's taking place June 1st. So right now I'm not seeing that one either. And after that for Parker would be Joe Joyce in a rematch. I wouldn't be surprised if Parker signed up for this fight, given the fact that Parker beat the guy that knocked Joyce out twice. But right now Parker's kind of in the driver's seat, and I don't think he needs the fight right now. I think there's bigger fish to fry for him, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did happen. I really wouldn't be surprised if he signed on for a rematch with Joyce. But right now I'm leaning towards the less likely. Then there's Deontay Wilder in a rematch. You know, I definitely could see this fight taking place, and sooner rather than later, because right now Wilder is projected to be fighting Zhilei Zhang on the Bivol Better Be of undercard, and I think that fight, one way or the other, is going to end by knockout in the first few rounds. So if that happens, Wilder might want to get right back in with Parker and get that revenge, and Parker, I think, would be down because Wilder's such a big name. He's going to make a shitload of money for the rematch, more than he made the first time. know, the projection that he could win, you know, since he won the first fight, would absolutely be there. So I definitely think this could be next for Joseph Parker. Daniel Dubois. I don't see it. I think Dubois is going to end up fighting for either the interim or vacant IBF championship on, on June 1st, because he's projected to be part of the 5 versus 5 thing between Queensberry and Matchroom Boxing. He's supposed to be part of that and supposed to be fighting Filip Hrgović. So, and to be honest, I don't think he'd be the favorite in that. I think he'd probably get beat. So I don't see Dubois and Parker being possible next. Then there's Ajit Kabayel. Good fighter. I think he's just not a big enough name for a Joseph Parker right now, although I think it'd be a good matchup and I'd like to see it. I just think Parker, now that he beat Wilder and Zhilei Zhang, he's just riding too high, and he's going to want big names going forward. I don't think Kabayel fits that criteria for him. And then any fighters outside of the top 10 that could be relevant. Martin Bacoli is a no. Frank Sanchez, I don't see. Jared Anderson, maybe, if, could be a possibility, but one I would lean probably against, because they'd have to work with Top Rank, and I just don't think the two sides would get together for that. F.A. Ajagba is a no, not a big enough name. Lenier Pero, not a big enough name. Andy Ruiz in a rematch. If Ruiz wanted that smoke next, I think Parker would give it to him, because I think Parker would want to, I think he might give it to him, just because Ruiz is a former champ and a big name, and their first fight was somewhat controversial, and Parker would be a solid favorite going into the rematch. So I think maybe. And Francis Ngannou, I mean, I doubt he'd, be wanting to return so soon. Maybe he would, but I think Parker would just go after one of the other big names. So for Joseph Parker, there's a long list of, there's a lot of different possibilities. And we're really not going to know for sure what it's going to be until we see the result of Fury and Usyk. I think he could fight the winner or the loser of that fight. I think a rematch with Anthony Joshua is very possible. I think a rematch with Joe Joyce is very possible. I think a rematch with Deontay Wilder is very possible. If I had to pick one that I thought could absolutely happen above the rest, I'm thinking maybe Wilder. I think Parker might take about 5-6 months off and take a look at what Wilder does against Zhang. And if Wilder knocks out Zhang in the early rounds, I think a rematch could definitely happen later on in the year. So, really looking forward to seeing how it all shakes out for Joseph Parker, because again, there's just going to be a boatload of opportunity for him next, and could end up leading to a title shot. You never know. So we'll see what happens, but that's it. That's what I got. That is my what's next on former heavyweight champion of the world and current interim heavyweight champion Joseph Parker, following his upset 12-round majority decision victory over Zhilei Zhang on the March 8th The Zone pay-per-view that was headlined by Joshua Ngannou. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, smash the like button, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. I appreciate any and all support. This is True Boxing. You've been hit with the truth.